The next video demonstration I included as a bonus, since originally I wanted to show only one padlock. But since my friend sent me this lock as well, I thought I will demonstrate this too, since it is a medium security lock and we can repeat the picking steps that we learned until now. So here it is, the next lock we are trying to pick, a medium security lock I would say. Let's turn this lock around and have a look at the keyway. Interestingly enough, the first pin that we see is a spool pin, and from what I have read online, all the pins in the lock are either spool pins or mushroom pins, so I expect this to be quite a difficult lock to pick. Either way, let's go with our step-by-step guide, and as you've seen previously, the first step is to insert the tension wrench at the bottom or the top part of the lock and apply slight pressure. Next thing, I check with the pick how many pins are actually in the lock, just to make sure. And from what I could feel, there are 5 pins in the lock. Okay, so step number 2, find the first binding pin. And the first pin feels pretty good actually, so I tried picking it. And I had the feeling that I could set it, but it kept popping back from the shear line, so I was not entirely sure if this was set or not. I tried the second pin. Second pin was moving a little bit, but I couldn't really set it. So what I did is tried it once more, went to the first pin, check if this went up again, but it stayed down. So I went to the third pin and I could actually set it, but it felt a little weird. It felt like it popped in way too early to the shear line. So this might have been a false set, and there you can see me trying to pick it, and I managed to pick it. And look at the lock's rotation now. Did you see it? Just a very, very small movement. Let's watch again in slow-mo. Here it is. And just to refresh on how you beat a false set, release the tension on the tension wrench while still applying pressure on the pin. Pin number 4 was the next binding pin and it was set. Here I checked the previously set pins again, and apparently pin number 3 came up again, so here I reset it. Once I set a pin, I usually check the previously set pins, brushing the hook over them and potentially resetting them to the shear line, as you can see here. And maybe you noticed the tiny rotation in the plug once I reset pin number 2 just a few seconds ago. Here I try picking the 5th pin at the very back of the lock, but it appears to be really hard. Anyway, I release tension on the tension wrench and apply pressure on the hook, and pin number 5 is set. Unfortunately, pin number 4 came up from the shear line again, so I had to try resetting it to the shear line. It was a bit of work, but in the end I managed to do so. Then I rechecked the previous pins. Always do this once you have set a pin. And pin number 3, which is the binding pin, actually came up again, and I reset it just a couple of seconds ago. At this point all the pins felt pretty good from the 1st until the 4th, but the 5th came up again, so I had to reset pin number 5, as you can see here. I actually triggered a false set in this position. I realized this once I applied tension on the tension wrench. I got some pretty good counter rotation in my index finger. So I went with the hook above the pin again, released tension while still applying pressure, and in the end I managed to beat the false set, as you can see here. So I put the pick aside, just the last bit of rotation from the tension wrench, and the lock is open, as you can see here. So just follow the steps. Insert your tension wrench, apply pressure, use a hook, find the first binding pin, set the binding pin, find the next binding pin, and then just repeat the process until the lock is open. Let's have a look at the bitting of the key, and you can see from the very right hand side, this is the first pin. It's pretty far up. The second and third, they're pretty far down. Pin number 4 is pretty much up again, and the 5th pin behind the 4th is pretty much down again. So the 5th one was pretty difficult to pick because you had to go over the 4th one. So close the lock again. Insert the key just to make sure if this is the right key or not. Put it in, turn it, and as you can see, this was the right key. It was a pretty nice lock to pick. Medium difficulty, I would say, a lot of going back and forth, resetting previously set pins, but in the end we managed to do it and it was a nice lock.